Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sandy Bottom Homestead. Hope you're having an amazing day. Yeah, we're going to do something new today. I've come to a conclusion. I think as gardeners, we may read too much and act too little. Here's the state of our garden right now. We've got our popcorn. We've got our sweet potatoes. These should both be coming up soon, which if we don't act soon, basically what we'll have is an empty garden for fall. We do have our Seminole pumpkins, our black-eyed peas, our green beans here, and then we cleared out this bed yesterday of all the peppers, and we just kind of started resituating the Seminole pumpkin on this trellis here. This is just a wild one that's going crazy. But you're wondering, what the hell are you talking about, Ben? What do you mean we read too much? Well, there's something I've always wanted to do, and I've always wondered, and I've talked about it a little bit this year, and we were recording the Backyard Gardens podcast yesterday, and I kind of just had an aha moment, you know? So what I want to do is I want to try and direct sow a couple crops that you normally would not direct sow in this day and age. It's very important that you hear that last part, this day and age. So today what we're going to do is we're going to direct sow broccoli. As of this moment, right now, I have 73-ish days, I think, roughly until my first frost. That should be plenty of time. And I want to see if it's going to work. I've got some starts going. They're a little bit delayed, not a big deal, but since they're delayed, we're going to plop some seeds in this bed today. This is where our tomatoes were. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, which sometimes it doesn't, I had cabbage in here last year, so this is going to be a really good spot for it. What I need to do is I've already put down the alfalfa, so it should be feeding it slowly. It's not fertilizer, it's an amendment. And then I'm going to rebury these lines and get these seeds planted. I'm going to do the whole bed that way. Because I have the other ones going, I'm just going to do the front half of the bed. That's my initial thought right now. And we're going to see what happens. So let's get started on this, and then I'll kind of tell you a little bit more about what I'm thinking and really why I think we read too much, which is kind of a dumb thing to say. All right, so right now our highs are in the mid to upper 80s, and we will definitely see some more 90-degree days coming up. So we're going to have to remember that as we do this. So we will have to add shade, especially in the very beginning, just so we can simply have enough of water retention for these crops. Now, I'm not going to do the whole bed as far as laying lines and stuff, because I want to make it clear where I've worked in case I do forget something or, you know, don't do something right. Got this old tomato here, which I don't even know if you guys can see me. I hope you can. And if you don't want to see me, then you can just listen to me. It's all good. But yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of working these alfalfas into the ground, and any fertilizer that may have been there, which we're going to put some more down. We're definitely going to do a pre-planting fertilizer, and just get everything ready. Get the soil prepped nicely for it. So what did I mean about we read too much and act too little? Ever heard of analysis paralysis? I mean, we have access to so much information, it's ridiculous in this day and age. You know, like I said, I've always thought about this. I've never really taken the plunge. And to be totally honest, part of the reason, maybe 15% of the reason, is because I am on YouTube. It's kind of pushing me to do it. But overall, I've always wanted to know how this will work, because in theory, the plant, I mean, we all know broccoli bolts. It goes up, it drops its seed. I've let it bolt in my garden naturally to save seeds before, and I will say probably around July it starts to drop its seed. So we're kind of right on track for it to naturally drop its seed. The attrition rate would be pretty high at that point, because broccoli's high end for temperature for germination is 85 degrees. So we're like all over that high end right now. So we're gonna have to cool the soil down. But back in the day, you just planted. You just grew your garden. I'm gonna work while I talk. And you know, if you wanted to do something, you just did it. But now, because we have so much information, I feel like all we do is just read and then analyze it and think. And you know, we walk in the dark and turn on our lights. Haha, love it. But you know, it's just one of those things that it's like, I'm tired of it and I want to know. I don't see a lot of people doing this. I'm not saying this is like some groundbreaking move that I'm doing by any stretch of the imagination in the world. But for my garden, this is huge. If this works, I mean, look, I'm going to put it, it's August 20th and I'm seeding broccoli, for the record, in coastal North Carolina. So there it is. And if this works, we could potentially be doing this every year, because the way that the garden's worked out this year, it kind of really lends itself to this. So let me show you what I mean by that. I mean, look at this. You know, the corn was done. We pulled it up yesterday, actually, and we started weeding the bed. We still got to do a little bit more work to it. The buckwheat bed is done. We're just now waiting for that to see if it's going to reseed itself and then weed it. We've got a couple weeds that snuck in there, so we're just kind of waiting that out. By the way, let me show you this real quick. So I came out, I actually waited one day after I did that buckwheat trim. I'm gonna try and do this real quick. And I wasn't real sure what I wanted to do with it. There was a lot of seeds on there. So, you know, there's this area in my yard over here I'm working on. So all I did is I just came out here and kind of used it as a mulch and just dropped it here. So you can see there's a patch there and a patch there, a patch there, and somewhere else in there. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to do that. I plan to do this area too. Just let it grow, and the thought process is there's seeds on there. It'll act as mulch, it'll keep the weeds suppressed, and if the seeds fall and they germinate, great. That's awesome. And if it doesn't, so what? Said back in the day, this is how you grew everything. You stuck it in the ground. There were no lights. There were no, you know, extra warmth or anything you could add to seedlings to get them going. So we just wanted to we want to make sure that we can do that. Now, we can use our knowledge to our benefit. Well, what does that mean? We can use our knowledge to our benefit. Well, you know, we know that based on all the research that we can do and all the stuff that we can learn, we can start seeds again. And we figured it out how to do it inside, but I started them outside in seed trays and I didn't like how it was working out. So I scrapped that. I moved them all inside, and that's kind of delayed things a little bit. But the way I look at it is, if days to harvest is between 70 and 85 days, and let's say you include the germination time in it, let's just say that's the case, then in theory, by the time we get to our first frost, we should have heading broccoli, which means if we get it to germinate and we can keep it going in this garden during the heat in the last part of July into September, where it's naturally cooling, we may be a step ahead of the game. I may not have to fire up the lights in the future, and I may just be happy about it. You know what I mean? But we know temperature germination rates for seeds, and we can use that to our advantage. Now, my granny, who is 96 years old, they survived off of what they grew. They didn't water it. They didn't have all this crap that we have and all the access to everything. So, you know, we already have a head start, but now I haven't asked her, and I really do need to ask her, like, did they have like fall gardens and stuff like that? I'm pretty sure they didn't. They really just focused on like corn, sweet potatoes, green beans, stuff like that. So nothing like super insane. Melons, a lot of storage crops and stuff like that. So we're kind of ahead of the game as far as that goes, but we'll see what happens. So what I'm going to do after I sneeze, look, there's a marigold. We don't want that growing there. We're gonna plant our seeds in the spacing that they want to be in. So my thought process behind this is it's going to be, the plants are going to be stronger because they're going to grow naturally in an environment in which they can get used to on their own, not forced by my hand. Meaning I don't have to harden them off. I don't have to do anything like that. All they're going to do is grow. And I really need to get more soil in this garden. That is becoming very apparent when I'm doing this. But that will help with them. And you know, once you put a plant out, it automatically gets shocked. Well, we're eliminating that shock completely. The only thing that's going to shock it is the heat. So we're going to have to be very, very diligent about watering and temperature control. But I think I can do it. I think I can. Like the little engine that could, I think I can. I think I can. What a great book that was. My grandma used to read that to me all the time. So there we go. So what I'll do is I'm going to get my seeds. And this is really eye-opening too. I was thinking about this earlier. So I'm going to grow hopefully the rest of this green magic. I'll be done with it. And if they start to germinate, then I'm going to come out and do some Waltham broccoli, which is what we have in our seed shop. And I'm going to need to get more seeds. But I'm just going to go every foot. I'm going to put 3 seeds. Just drop them right in. Every foot. And so the spacing's done. Well, that one has 2, but it'll be all right. So that's a little bit close. And I'm just eyeballing it. I don't do anything crazy, but what I do know is these plants are going to get rather large. So we definitely want to give them some space. And I would normally put 3 seeds in a seed cell. So I'm not wasting any more seed or anything like that than I normally would. And we'll see what's going to go. Now I have adjusted my fertilization. I'm not using the blood meal that I usually would because the raccoon is a son of a bitch. And he will come in and he will do what he wants. And so an effort to let him live, I'm going to try and keep him out of my garden. There is a rodent right over there somewhere. And I'm going to zigzag these plantings. So I'm not going, I'm doing like I have, if you see my other videos, where it's not, can you see this? Yeah, I'll do it right here. 1, 2, it's 1, 2, you know, catty corner. So to the best of my ability. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm going to have to hand water these at first. So we're going to do that. It's all done. It's good. We got to water it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to water it now. The soil's pretty dry. I'll come out here this evening and give it its first watering. And then that way it can stay moist overnight, avoid the heat. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did here because I have that trellis. I'm going to do my shade the same way, where I tie it up to the back and then hook it to the front somehow. I don't have the stakes in place for a, oh, actually I do have stakes in the back here, so I can reuse those, and then I'll just slide it down and then keep it. Now what I do know is because of the sun in my yard, it's like this bed, I have to get it all the way to the front. And just for the record, this was parsnips, the seeds rotted. So yesterday we put parsnip, rutabagas in the front row, 2 rows. So we're kind of making adjustments, being fluid with our plans, stuff like that, and moving forward. So I'm really excited about this. I really hope it works, but no matter what, we'll know by the time the broccoli starts come out that they're going to be ready to go, or we need to replace them. So this is really good timing for me. You're probably, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think about what's next, and you may or may not see me do other seeds like this that we normally would not direct sow. But with the time, I mean, why not, dude? You got to learn, right? Stop reading so much, stop analyzing, and just go do it. Who cares? You know, if I got a fire ant that just bit the crap out of me. If I can't grow this and it fails, I'm still gonna eat broccoli because I'm gonna go to the grocery store and buy it, and that's the benefit. But when there is no broccoli, and there is no lights, or we can't get deliveries, or there's global shortages again or something stupid like that, then I'm good. I'll know I can start tweaking. So this could be something that's evolving, and it's just like everything else. We just start tweaking our schedule, seeing what happens. But what we do know is going to work in our favor is, even though our first frost date's in 70 days, and it could be 75, 85, 100 days until this is done, what I do know is that's going to make it through the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth frost, all the way through. Broccoli is good down to about 26 degrees. So keep that in mind. We're going to do a lot of talking in the very near future about temperature regulation in the garden. So keep your eyes out for that. And if you've done anything like this, let us know. Let us know if you've started any of the long season crops by seed in the garden, you've direct sowed them. And let us know how it worked for you. I'm super curious, but if this works, we're going to be good to go.
Goodbye.